Hi, everyone. My name is Cassandra Williamson, and I am coming to you from a holler in eastern Kentucky near Williamson, West Virginia, in Pike County. It's called Hardy. Okay, Hardy, Kentucky, Pike County. And this is the path forward. This is April the 16th, 2025. And tonight's show is going to be centering on some really hard truths that are just going to exacerbate a few issues probably for some of you. And if it gets to be too much, leave. If it's too hard for you to listen to me tell you these things, leave. And if you need help afterwards, call 988. I think that's the number. Anyway, yeah. So take care of yourself. Make sure you're good, because what's coming is going to be a little hard for a lot of you to hear. So I just want to make it very clear at the very beginning, this is not a politically correct show. I believe I said that on the very first episode that I did a long time ago, and I've repeated it out every other show or so, saying that this is a show that's going to be hard hitting. I'm going to probably piss a bunch of people off in this community, in the transgender community. I'm going to piss a bunch of people off over on the right and in Trump's administration, which is what I hope to do anyway. I really don't care at this point. And why is that? Because they have been unrelenting in their pursuit of ways to make sure we do not exist in the public spaces at all in this country. But it's not just here, around the world. The UK's version of the Supreme Court just ruled that that there's only men and women. That's the definition of sex. Biological sex at birth, which basically strikes away gender and leaves only sex. So everything about transgender people is under assault. Viktor Orban over in Hungary, he's got something going on about transgender people and LGBTQ plus people, all of them, the entire spectrum. It's over there. I mean, Viktor Orban picks it up from American-based Alliance Defending Freedom. So we got a lot of stuff going on that's attacking us. And every day, what do you see in the news? What do you hear on TV? What do you read on the news stories? Everywhere, every day. They mention transgender people day in and day out, incessantly. It's a nonstop barrage of attacks against transgender people. And they're not stopping at the kids. Folks, I've been trying to say that for a long while, okay? I feel like the old Greek mythology story about having to do with Cassandra, okay? Cassandra screaming up in the holler, out of the cave, trying to get people to listen. She's speaking the truth and nobody listens. Well, that's quite all right. It's quite all right. So I'll just do it like this. I'll keep yelling and screaming and just try to be the focal point for a lot of angst. There's been an awful lot of anxiety over the past couple of days. If you've been reading, if you keep up with the Substack that's called Aaron in the Morning by Aaron Reed, the transgender lady from out in Montana whose spouse is a transgender representative in the Montana legislature, one of two, actually, in the Montana legislature. Aaron this morning sent out something that should have scared the bejesus out of a bunch of people out here, okay? She was saying, basically, prepare a plan to protect yourself. If you cannot protect yourself here, then try to find a country where you can be, have some asylum somewhere as a refugee in another country. But don't go to England. A lot of countries, and stay out of Hungary, stay out of El Salvador. There's a bunch of countries out there, a bunch. And don't go to Russia. Who the hell wants to anyway, right? Got a dictator of, oh, wait a minute, we have one here too. Yeah, I said it. That's what we've got here. Definitely working on that way. It's definitely authoritarian on steroids. Yep. So here's what I'm going to tell you. What is it that transgender people need to be doing right now? For one thing, if you have not had all your procedures and you cannot pass and you don't pass and and you look at yourself realistically and you're going, I know they can see that in me. I can see it in the mirror. Stay out of the darn bathrooms, cover yourself up, do something, whatever you got to do. Stay out of the bathrooms, out of the spaces where there are biological females there. Stay out of those spaces. Because all you do, every time we do something like that, it draws big spotlight on all of us. It puts a spotlight on the entire community, and we can do nothing because the spotlight is on that one individual that was being an idiot. Okay? That's what's been going on. We have been the cause of our own problems because we refuse to respect the spaces that we're trying to become a part of. Why did you transition? Why? What was the reason behind it? What was the rationale? Was there a rationale? I can tell you from my perspective, I've always known this is who I am. And I started transitioning 9 years before I went public in 2016. Yeah. And I kept it secret, and I stayed out of the bathrooms that didn't fit what I knew I did not look like. Okay. I was very deliberate about that. Very deliberate about it. Now, unless I talk and pull out this old Marine Corps voice, well, I can kind of cut it down a little bit. I got a lot of work to do on that. I try not to talk in the bathroom. Don't call me while I'm in the bathroom because I will not answer the phone. Point blank. I do not talk in the bathroom because I don't want to cause a problem. I go in those spaces because I have to go pee. And because I know that everything about me is kind of, it's kind of there. Yeah, I can do that. Just I don't talk. If you can make yourself look so good that they cannot pick out that your biological sex was male or your biological sex was female, if you're going into the men's bathroom, whichever way it is, respect those spaces, folks. You've got to. It's causing an enormous amount of problems for the entire community, and it's not going to let up under Trump, under the Trump administration. And really, honestly, this has been going on since the 50s with the lavender scare. They've wanted to find a way to come after everyone in the LGBTQ plus community. They wanted all of it. They were trying really hard to find ways to go after us. And what did they finally come up with? After decades, they finally figured out a way. We'll go after the transgender people. There aren't many of those, but we can put a spotlight on them every time they go read, every time some drag queen goes somewhere and reads a story to a bunch of kids. Stop already. You're destroying everything because your selfish act is drawing a light on you. You're not respecting the position or the thing that you're trying to represent. And I know that it is basically you're just putting a show on. I know that it's entertainment for drag queen stuff, but I'm going to tell you something. On the right side of this country, they don't see the big distinction between drag queens and transgender people and transsexual people. They don't see the distinctions. So every time someone in this space, in any of those spaces, does something like that, and it gets on the right, it just builds up their animosity toward us even more. You hear it every day. Transgender athlete stuff is going on right now all across this country because, they're trying to protect women's spaces. Now, I'm going to tell you something. If you went through male puberty, you have no business on the biological women's teams. The science may say one thing. We know that the science is supportive of us being there, but it doesn't matter. It does not matter. And yes, lawsuits are going on all over the place to put a stop to some of these executive orders and policies and stuff like that. Yes, there's lawsuits all across this country over that. That's not going to change the facts on the ground right there where you are living right now. If you go out there and do something stupid, if you go out there and you've got your lipstick on and you're going out here and doing all this kind of stuff and you go burn a Tesla down, I'm coming after you. If I find out who you are, I'll be the one to report you. It's that simple. We have got to police our own selves and start thinking of the people we're trying to become, okay? This is a constant journey. You're always evolving and growing. But I'm going to tell you something. If you have not done the things that it takes to be a part of the space that you want to be in, stay out of that space. I know that's hard for a lot of people. I get it. I know it's hard for a lot of people to take. People are going to be pissed because I say it on the right and the left. I'm trying to figure, here's why I'm doing this. I'm trying to figure out a way so that you can thrive and survive through the next several years. It's not going to get easier. They're going to find every way they can to go after trans people, and then marriage equality and LGBT people. They're not stopping, folks. This stuff, the right side has been motivated by extreme, fanatical, religious views. And I'm not saying it's just Christian. It's also Muslim. Yes, there's extremes in all of that. And they don't want us around, period. So it's on you to do everything in your power to be the best representative of the person, of the space you're trying to get into. Whether you're assigned female at birth and you're trying to get into male spaces, it's a lot easier for trans men to get into those spaces than men's spaces, because testosterone has an enormous impact on bodies. Okay, it causes hair, facial growth, muscular development, and all kinds of stuff. It works in there where you can't. These people I wouldn't want to run into in the corner anywhere. There's a couple of people I know who are in the military as military police, and I would not want to meet them if I were doing something stupid. They could probably ring you around the pole 2 or 3 times. If you're in the military, you know that flagpole we all marched around? Well, take your tail, tie a big knot in it, because that's exactly what these people can do to you. But I'm going to tell you, we have got to be the ones telling our community, telling transgender Americans, telling transsexual Americans, telling the drag queens out there, stop already if you're doing things that are drawing attention to all of us, especially if it's bad. If it shows up on the right side in the news channel, then we don't want it. You can go march and parade and all that kind of stuff, all you want to do, but I'm going to tell you, be crazy. Go ahead and go out there and show your tail in your black dog mask with your leash and 4 or 5 of you being dragged along the street. That is asinine stupid, folks. Stupid behavior. And I've got a chat comment down here. I don't know what it is. I'm going to jump down there real fast. Whew. Jamie McIntyre says, you're spot on. Let me show that one. All right. And then let me go down here. Right. And this is from Darby. Darby says it's sad that drag is not exclusive to trans people. The irony is that drag is not exclusive to trans people. However, the average layperson doesn't make that distinction. That is so true. That is so true. Drag queen goes into some library somewhere and reads stories to the kids. The layperson out there who has no knowledge of the distinctions and the nuances of all this gender stuff, they see you as a trans person, even though the vast majority are just gay men. And many are conservative gay men too. I found that to be surprising. But yeah. And then Jamie goes on to say, let's see, let me get this off. The drag queens are all we trans women are considered to be. I'm so sick of the drag crap. Yeah, me too. The sports issue, I highly disagree with you on this one. Got to go. Rehearsal is beginning. Okay, Jamie, thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. All right. So bottom line from Darby says, We cannot please everyone. That is so true. That is so true, folks. And here's the issue. And let me go on down here. This is another one that Darby put in here too. The truth is often, nearly always, somewhere in the middle and rarely on the so-called right or left. Yes, agreed. So agree with you on that one. And I'm pretty sure I missed some other ones up here at the top. Okay, let me see up here. Nope. We're really like talking in the bathroom. Yeah, me either. Darby. Yep, I keep my mouth closed in the bathroom. I absolutely do, because I've got this old voice, and if I'm on the telephone with someone, if I call someone or they call me, I don't change my voice. I use this one, and they go, "Can I speak to Cassandra, please?" And I said, "Speaking." They said, "Can I speak to Cassandra, please?" And I go, "Speaking." I said, "Oh, and by the way, I've got this old Marine Corps voice that just fools people every time." And I laugh, and then they laugh. It kind of breaks it, breaks the ice really quickly. Let me see. This is what Jamie said a minute ago. The problem is if you're already changed and your passport needs renewal, you're screwed. My passport isn't renewed because my documents don't match, so I can't leave the country. We're being hunted. Jamie, if you're still here, yeah, I agree. I would suggest, now this is the path forward for anyone out there listening right now, anyone who listens to this later. Here's the path forward. The path forward is get your junk in order as fast as you can. Passports, if you haven't done that already, that's out of the question. Real ID, I figure it's coming to a state near you pretty darn soon, where they're going to start trying to tell you can't change that one either. Even if you walk in there with all your documents. One state in the nation's already said courthouse or licensing offices and ID offices are not to accept a judge's order for gender and sex changes and all that kind of name change. Yeah, I bet you can guess which state that is, right? Yep. Texas. Well, that's coming to a state near you also. Okay. Any other comments? Anything? I'm gonna beat on this again tomorrow night. And if you're part of the program for the 7:30 Zoom meeting tonight, see you then. I'll try to be there. If no one shows up, I won't stay long. If people don't show up in it, I will not stay long, because my mom's still in the hospital. She's staying overnight again, and they're just giving her some antibiotics for UTI. So with that, I'm closing out the show, and you guys, everyone, have a tremendously great evening. Oh, I'm sorry, got the burps. Anyway, from the holler in Eastern Kentucky, have a great evening, everyone. Bye-bye.